What is up, Tubeezers? I'm the Stereotypical Gamer, and welcome back to another fantastically fun games for under $15. Today, we are taking a look at a game that is basically the epitome of the series, and I'm kind of shocked that I didn't get to this game sooner in the series, and that is Into the Breach. This is a game made by the same developers of FTL Faster Than Light, and that is one of my favorite games of all time, so honestly, there is just no way that this wouldn't be a great game with just how great of a game that is, and really it just takes it to a different level. I think FTL is really unique in the roguelike sense, and this game definitely still plays like a roguelike with those kind of mechanics, but the complexities of things in this game in particular are just so fun to think out, and just trying to determine what moves to make each and every turn to make sure that no buildings are destroyed, none of your guys are destroyed, and everything is just kind of safe and secure. I feel like there is sometimes when it feels like you can't do anything about a certain situation, but I think just overall you can find a way to perfectly outmatch the bugs in any scenario in this game, and I think that is just such a satisfying feeling. So how the gameplay plays out and how the story kind of weaves into that, it's similar to FTL, where there's not much story going on, but there is a narrative kind of driving things along. Basically, you're playing as time-traveling mech pilots that are going back to the past with these mechs and trying to stop these bugs. So you know the outcome, you know the moves these bugs are going to make, and you are there to try and stop that, basically. And it's really kind of simplistic what you can do, right? You just attack, do 1 damage, move, push an enemy over 1 space, and stuff like that. It's all really basic, and it's not so much trying to just eliminate all the bugs, it's more of just trying to survive, and I really like the complexities of that. And so basically how turns work is each bug has a certain attack that it will do, and you can see where they are going to attack and which order they are going to attack, and you basically are trying to stop them from attacking the buildings, because buildings are kind of like your health. They have power, and you're kind of connected to the power grid, so destroying these buildings loses you power, which loses you health in a sense. So it's not about killing all the bugs per se, it's more about surviving their attacks, and I really enjoy that because it makes you think about strategies differently. Basically how a round works, or whatever, when you drop into a location for the first time, you basically have to survive 5 turns of enemy attacks, and then after 5 turns the enemies will go away and you're cleared. So basically during that time you're just trying to survive, and whether that be killing all the bugs or just saving all the buildings and mechs that you have, it really is up to you how you go about doing that. And I like that because it gives it the complexity of kind of like a chess match. While the enemies and their movements and attacks are random every time, you can kind of predict because you know what they can do and where new enemies will pop up, and you know how much they can move. So there is a level of prediction there, but I love the randomness that is put into it. It's not overwhelming, it's just enough that you can understand everything that's going on and you can make sure you do it the way that you want to do it. And one of the things I absolutely love about this game is how it is very complex, and it is kind of difficult to get into at the start. If you play on easy, it is definitely easier, but overall just trying to play on normal and get through it can be difficult at the start. But once you get an understanding of the game and how things work, it just becomes so much easier, and then you can add those little complexities to it to make it just a bit more fun. And then you can add new mech pilots, you can get new mechs entirely. There's just so much customization that makes it more complex as it goes along, but I think once you get that ball rolling, everything and all the mechanics just feels so smooth, and it just works so well. One thing I think this game does really well is gives the player that satisfying feeling after completing an objective. And I think that's just kind of a common thing in games, whether it be like defeating a final boss, getting some cool loot or whatever. This game does it really well each and every turn. I feel like there's just some turns where I'm just overwhelmed and I feel like there's no way that I can save everything, and then I just kind of think it out, and sometimes I have to think it out for a couple minutes at a time, but then you see everything line up and you figure out where shots need to go, where your mechs need to go, and everything is saved, and it is such a satisfying feeling. And it's interesting because when you overcome those objectives in other games, you'll like be rewarded with different things and whatnot. But this game, that's just one turn. Like, it just, congratulations, you survived. You still have more turns. You still have more monsters to deal with. But it's just such a satisfying feeling that knowing that one turn, I did it right and I did it perfectly. And I would say overall about like 95% of turns you can save everything and make sure nothing gets harmed during that turn. There are some turns where you get overwhelmed with bugs. Maybe you didn't stop them from coming up and you just kind of get more bugs than you can handle. So there are some times when you will get overwhelmed, but usually that's a case of not being able to stop them from spawning. So you could have done something a prior turn. So overall, I think there is always a way to play things, and that's a great feeling because it never feels like I'm out of control and I can't do anything about the situation. Now, this is the part where I would normally go into some of the bad aspects of this game, but honestly, there really isn't any bad aspects. I think the overall gameplay of this game is phenomenal. The satisfaction feeling is one of the best in any game that I've ever played, and kind of just the pacing and the difficult scaling of this game is just really well done. And the more I play it, the more new mechs I get, the new mech pilots, the new weapons and stuff like that. It just has so much replayability to it, and it just makes it fun every single time I go in. The one thing that I don't really like about this game, and it's just a small detail, is how you unlock mech pilots. Now, I like how you unlock new mechs, and that's by doing different achievements with previous mechs, so you just kind of have to go through and play all of the different mechs to try and unlock all of them, which I think is a really good idea and it plays out really well. But one thing that I don't really like is the unlock for the mech pilots, which they only give you passive traits. So one of my passive traits is that I start out with a shield on my melee mech. And so they're really cool and all, but in order to unlock them, you have to find them through these drop pods that are just randomly placed on different maps. It's completely random. I don't know if there's a way to like not randomize it, and sometimes these time pods is what they're called, they don't have a new mech hero. They'll just give you some sort of bonus or something like that. So it's completely random what you get in it, and it's a completely random event, and just kind of stuff like that to unlock mech heroes is really annoying and frustrating. And then the other small thing, and this isn't a knock on this game at all, but just compared to FTL Fast and the Light, this soundtrack for this game is subpar, I would say. It's not bad by any means, but compared to FTL Fast and the Light, which has one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, it's like a soundtrack that I actually listen to, and I don't listen to a lot of gaming soundtracks. To hear this one just, and how there's no real action to the music at all. It's just kind of bland, I feel. But that's just in comparison to FTL, which again is a phenomenal game, so I really can't knock on it too much because the music is still good overall. I just wish that there was more of an action pace to the music. It all kind of feels like smooth elevator music almost. But because this game is really complex, I want to dive into some tips and tricks for this game to help people out who are just starting this game, because I feel like the complexity that this game has at the very beginning will turn some people off. So let's dive into some tips and tricks. The biggest tip I can give for you in this game is to manage your priorities on what you want to save from each attack. And I would say that there is different levels to it, and I would say first off, you want to save whatever your objective is. Usually that is like protect the train or protect a building or stuff. You want to protect that first, because if you do that, you get extra stuff that will help you upgrade your mechs later on. After that, you want to protect the buildings because that's your overall lifeline. You want to make sure that they don't get hurt. And then after that, you want to protect your mechs. Now, if your mech is going to die from attack, I would say protect your mech first, but your mechs can take damage, and as long as it's not a killing blow, they'll come back with full health in the next round that you play. Now, as far as killing the bugs, I would say overall there isn't really a priority to which ones to kill first. I would say the main priority is the squid bugs that come out because they will either buff all of the other enemy bugs or debuff all your mechs, so they're kind of a priority. But other than that, it's more about what bugs are attacking which things. So if you can kill a bug that's attacking something, that's kind of just a plus, right? So it's more about what you can save than target priority in most senses. Obviously, like in boss rounds, you need to kill the boss and stuff like that. So you just have to find ways to do that. Now, as far as upgrades go and which missions you should do, obviously the more stars that you can get for a mission, the better. Stars will give you stuff that you can upgrade. It's kind of like your currency, and the like lightning bolts are extra health. So if you've taken damage, those are good ones to go after. But overall, I try and go for the star ones. And then once you finish an island, you get access to a shop where you can upgrade and purchase different things. And so normally I will spend all of my stars on reactor points, which are used to upgrade your mechs. And the reactor points cost 3 stars overall. So normally you can get 2 to 3 of those depending on how many stars you have. And so I'll just try and dump as much as I can. And if I have anything left over, I'll maybe buy like a weapon or something. Normally I just spend the stars on reaction points because upgrading your mechs is the best way to get the most out of your run. But other than that, I would say the biggest thing to learn about this game is to know what each enemy bug can do, because each of them only has one attack that they will do, and it's just kind of random where they will do it. But once you know those attacks, things become a little bit easier, and you can kind of just predict and determine where you want to move things to and what to attack because of what bugs are out on the field. Final tip that I want to give you, and probably one of the most important tips, is to make sure that you plan everything out before you actually act. You can see where your mechs can move, you can see where they can shoot, and what will happen if they shoot at that certain location. So you can plan everything out before you move, but you want to make sure that you do that, because if you do one thing with one mob and then you realize that it doesn't actually work out, you only have one reset for your entire round. So you really want to make sure that you're doing the right thing each and every time. But yeah, this is a really fun game, and for the price that it's at and the amount of time that you can spend doing everything in this game, it is really just such a good price point. And yeah, it will go on sale sometimes, but honestly, for $15, this is worth the price by far. There are no questions asked. But yeah, if you enjoyed FTL Faster Than Light, you will definitely enjoy this game. If you enjoy roguelites, you would enjoy this game. And even like turn-based strategies, if you enjoy those kind of games, you'll enjoy this game, because there's a lot of that kind of real-time strategy in this game. And just overall, everything that encompasses this game is really fun. And honestly, I think the more I play it, the more it kind of goes into my top 10 list of all time. And I really think that this is a game that can break that top 10 list. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.